You take on all that risk, and suddenly the business turns against you, against your own company. That's when things can get really dangerous. So, let's get to today's question. Why can growing too fast be a fatal mistake in business? Welcome, friends. I'm Fred. Here we talk about business investments, real life, and training, all from my personal perspective. And today, this is the business question. Why can growing your business too fast actually destroy it? I want to answer this in two different layers because this is where most people get confused. First layer, growing with debt. In my view, growing with debt is almost always a mistake. Now let's be honest. Some people grow with debt and succeed. That happens. But that doesn't mean it was always the right decision. It means they look at the big risk and the bet worked. And that raises an important question. Just become just because something worked, does that mean it was smart? In my opinion, no. Some entrepreneurs believe aggressive growth is the only way. They are comfortable with high leverage, high pressure, high exposure. That's not how I operate. Let me give you a real example from my own life. In my last real estate project, I built a house using only my own capital. No loans, no bank money. It wasn't easy. At one point, I even sold my car to finish the project. I reached the end tight, but debt free. And that made all the difference. Now imagine if I had taken a loan to finish that house. At the same time, Brazil's interest rates went up. The Selic rate affects everything. When interest rates are high, financing becomes expensive. Buyers hesitate to finance. Cash buyers prefer fixed income instead of real estate. So, the sale became much harder than I expected. Now imagine this scenario with debt. I would be paying interest, monthly payments, pressure, and no guarantee the sale would happen on time. That's the danger. When you borrow money, you create a plan, but reality doesn't care about your plan. If things go wrong, the risk shows up immediately. But that can accelerate growth. Yes, it can. But acceleration also amplifies mistakes. That doesn't just increase upside, it magnifies every error. That's why I don't like it. Recently, someone told me, why don't you take a loan and start another project right now? That goes completely against how I work. My approach is simple. I wait. I sell. Then I reinvest. Slow, controlled, sustainable. Now the second layer, growing without debt. Now let's talk about the other side. Growing without debt, using money that is truly surplus, that can be a very good idea. Because if you don't grow at all, you risk being overtaken by competitors. But even here, growth must be calculated. There is a myth that entrepreneurs are reckless risk takers. And that's not true. Successful entrepreneurs take risks, but they take the smallest risk possible, step by step. Most steps should be reversible because for every big success story you hear, there are thousands of businesses that fail by taking too much risk. Just look at statistics. Most companies fail within the first years. Very few survive long term. And uncontrolled growth is one of the main reasons. When I say use your own money, I'm not talking about your emergency fund. That's always untouched. I'm talking about real surplus capital. Money that, if lost, won't destroy your core business or your life. That kind of money allows you to experiment safely. You grow step by step. One new location, one expansion, one improvement, always protecting the main operation. I have a relative who owns a mechanical workshop. The business is solid, over 15 years in operation. Owns the property, stable cash flow. He has space to spend and the money to do it. That's a low risk expansion. Why? Because the base is strong. I actually encourage him to do it slowly, carefully, minimizing costs, step by step. That's smart growth. Now, the final recap. So, here's my view very clearly. Growing with debt, I strongly disagree. Growing with real surplus money, possible, but carefully. Growth must be slow, planned, and controlled. Never risk the core business. Fast growth looks impressive, but stability is what keeps you alive. Many businesses don't die because they didn't grow. They die because they grow too fast. Let me know in the comments what you think. Do you believe in aggressive growth or slow, controlled expansion? Thank you for watching, and I see you in the next video.